So they were removing the Confederate statues. This one right here was particularly woo-woo!
Black power. Take that racist shit down.
Turn down. Turn down, y'all. Listen to the knuckles. Listen to the knuckles. Turn down.
Hello and welcome to The Deal. I'm your host, Ed Clark, and thank you for taking the time to come and join us this weekend. We're doing The Deal a little bit early. We're here on Saturday because tomorrow is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And then yesterday was Juneteenth, and hopefully that you either had the day off or you took time to reflect on what Juneteenth means and meant to those people when they finally found out they were no longer slaves. And we'll talk about that during the show today. We got a packed show today. As always, Val Atkinson is going to be in with us to help us try to process the news. And we got some big news in Raleigh. The Confederate statues are coming down from downtown Raleigh that have been there for a long time. And Val and I have talked about this for years. And I don't know if I believed that it was ever going to happen, but it did. So hang on for that. We also have a really special guest in, a guy named Christopher Finley. Christopher lives in Arlington, Texas. The Arlington police showed up his door. They barged their way in, violated his Fourth Amendment rights against illegal search and seizure. He was streaming it live on Facebook. There's been 4 million people who've seen the video. And so we're actually going to talk to him because all the checking I did, nobody had actually called Christopher Finley up and asked him how he was doing and what happened. Not any media in Dallas at all have talked to Christopher Finley, but we're here at The Deal to talk to him. So we're going to find out how he's doing and his family and what his next steps are. We're going to talk about COVID. We're going to talk about everything else, but it's so much to talk about. Let's go ahead and get Val Atkinson in. Val, welcome to The Deal.
Thank you, Ed. It's always good to be here.
Good Lord, Val. I don't even know where to start today. I mean, we have witnessed something I thought never would ever happen, at least in my lifetime, a number of times. And the irony is a guy named George Floyd, who was born in Fayetteville, about 20 miles from where I grew up. My pastor from the church that I went to, living in Harnett County, ended up doing the prayer at his service. I go to Minneapolis all the time. I've been in that store where George Floyd was killed. And then all of these things are happening because people are fed up, and George Floyd was the catalyst. Talk to me about all this change that we're seeing right now. I know I didn't expect it. Did you?
I did not, Ed, and I think that we can attribute the cell phones that are ubiquitous now, and we can attribute the courage of a 17-year-old young lady that decided to continue filming when several people, including one officer, asked her to stop. Because had this not been on film, I think we'd be in a different place right now. But because so many people saw this, and now the stories of so many African Americans begin to ring true, they saw what we had been trying to tell them over the years. I can't breathe. There's a knee on my neck. My hands are cuffed behind my back. I'm not resisting. All of that came in the way of a video And it was hard to run away from. They could not escape that truth. As people used to sing in the old Western songs and that sort of thing. Are you going to believe your lying eyes or me?
Right.
You know, it was an issue that people start believing their lying eyes. They saw the truth. And that's what made it a situation that many young whites began to come out and support the movement that had not been there before, their support. Just as an aside, I just left a march today. I'm here in Holly Springs, North Carolina. And Holly Springs is less than 12% Black. It used to be over 90% Black. And there was a march, a movement, Black Lives Matter. And it was attended by, my guess would be 90 to 95% white attended that Black Lives Matter movement or march that started at Hunt Field and moved out to the town hall. So it's that kind of support that people can't turn away from. Roger Goodell is another example I'd like to talk about just for a second. I don't think under any circumstances would he have come out and said what he said had there not been integrated support here in the United States for Black Lives Matter movement, along with the support of nations all around the world, Ed. You know, 6 continents, 24 nations have joined the Black Lives movement. You know, I was watching a soccer match the other day, and before the game started, all of the players kneel on both teams, and nobody had their names on the back of their jersey. The back of their jersey said Black Lives Matter. This is a soccer match between a team from London and a team from Spain. And they have Black Lives Matter on the back of their shirts. They are kneeling before the start of the game to show their appreciation and support. But without this kind of thing, Roger Goodell, who happens to be the commissioner in the NFL, he would not have come out and supported Colin Kaepernick, the Black players in the NFL, kneeling before the anthem and supporting Black Lives Matter. He would not have said that. He even said he not only supported, but encouraged some team to hire Colin Kaepernick back.
Well, so do you ever imagine that? And after all that went down with Colin Kaepernick, I want to remind the folks you're watching and listening to The Deal with Ed Clark and Val Atkinson. And Val is as astonished as I am today. I almost couldn't speak last night when I saw the statues tumbling down in Raleigh on the big Confederate monument. They were able to pull the 2 Confederate soldiers off. There's a much taller, obelisk in the middle that's probably about 50 feet high, Val, that they weren't able to scale, and now it appears that the city of Raleigh is going to take that down as well. They removed some smaller monuments, and you can see the video here. Val, let's shift gears for just a second, and we talked about George Floyd and how he sort of the catalyst for a lot of this stuff. Even with that, though, in Atlanta, after George Floyd is killed, another person is killed, shot in the back, running away from the police. And we've seen that video as well. And then later on in this program, we're going to talk to Chris Finley, who the police barged into his house. And the first thing Finley says is that I'm afraid because there are 4 white officers. There's no warrant. There's nobody here to witness this. And he had the presence of mind to tell his, I think, 6 or 9-year-old son to go get his phone so he could Facebook live stream it. And then I think the cops were a lot less aggressive because of that phone. And you talked about that already. Tell me why I should be, though, feeling or not feeling still probably not completely happy about all of this, because even after George Floyd is killed, you still have these other incidents. Where are we? Are we better off, or we're in some sort of weird tug of war between people who support the president and the police and all this other stuff. And you know, I know we have allies now, but things aren't all great.
They're not great yet, Ed, and we're at the starting blocks in a marathon. And we got a long ways to go here, but what we got to make sure of is that the trend is upward, that the trend is forward. And we can't stand still, and we can't go backwards. We got to keep moving forward on this because we have the right allies, as I've said earlier. And now we have the right conditions that have taken place because of George Floyd and Rayshard and some other people. So we must keep our feet on the gas, on the pedal, to keep moving forward. But I don't think that people realize all that needs to be said and done. Too many white people, Ed, are asking, what can I do? Just tell me what I need to be thinking or how I need to be acting. One of the problems is they want to get back to normal, to normality, okay? And, you know, normalcy is where we're coming from. That caused us the problems, okay? Your being what's normal for you is problematic for me. And so we can't go there. We have to go to a third or fourth place. We have to go someplace else, okay? Or you have to go back to that place that you call normal and fix it up and get it right, and then we both go back there together. But I can't fix up something here so that you can go back and act like you've been acting before and have your paradise in peace, because that's what caused the problems that I'm experiencing right now. You have got to be willing, sir, ma'am, Mr. and Mrs. White person, you've got to be willing to give up on normalcy and to go and do something else. You did it 400 or 500 years ago when you left Europe, not having any ties, not being able to get back, not going back, starting new, moving westward, not knowing what was going there, not knowing if you're going to be received by the Native Americans or not, enslaving black people, not knowing if they're going to revolt, cut your neck and cut your throat in your sleep. You have to be bold and brave to go through that. And I'm asking, and a lot of other people are asking, for you to consider doing the same thing again, that same type bravery to build a new world. Because the one we had, you can't go back to. We won't allow you to go back to it because we're not going to behave the same way. Yeah. Now that the cat's out of the bag, now that you understand the way things are, and we're not just talking about Juneteenth and the Tulsa riots, we're talking about far, far more than that. You have got to go back and deal with your history. I'll say this one last thing, Ed. You know, I heard some people on TV the other night talking about too many white people look at history as they look at resumes. You know, a resume, we don't want to say we lie on our resumes, our vidas, but we try to accentuate the positive, and we kind of gloss over or kind of have a revisionist kind of path to our negatives without cheating or without lying. But when you look at history, everything's on the table. A fact is a fact. You can't just put out the positive things and suppress the things that are not flattering to you. And too long, that's what too many white people have done because they want so badly for this American experiment to go well. They want so badly for this to be not only just a great country, but a great country that everybody else loves and wants to be a part of. And so they have closed their eyes to horrible things, such as the Scottsdale boys, what happened in Rosewood, Florida, Tulsa, Oklahoma. We could go all around the nation, Wilmington, North Carolina in 1898. Things happen all over the nation that people are trying to suppress, won't even put in their history books. And if they put it there, the teachers don't put it in the curriculum and don't talk about it.
Right.
They've got to stop that.
Yeah, well, you know, we're listening to Val Atkinson, who should know. He's taught history and political science at university level. He's written books about issues related to voting and the history of African Americans in government, a lot of things, media, politics, expert in a lot of things. And that's why he's on here, because Val, I want to talk about history. We started off talking about the monuments, and then in the lead up into the show, people probably saw the clips of the monuments tumbling down in downtown Raleigh, and then the ones they physically removed, the city physically removed. Can you tell people why those monuments are there in the first place? Because I get it all the time from folks who are my friends, people I grew up with, who say that we're denigrating heritage, that these don't represent hate. This is about American history. We're hiding American history. Talk to me why that sentiment is wrong. I'll argue with them all day long because I know it's wrong. Those monuments aren't there for the reasons they say they're there. Can you talk to us about why those monuments are there in the first place?
Absolutely, Ed. Most of those monuments were put there years and years after the Civil War was over. And after the Confederacy, the Confederate States of America had capitulated and given in and surrendered to the United States of America. There was a war between the Confederate States of America and the United States of America. And the Confederate States of America lost. So they had to adhere, they had to give an unconditional surrender. And that brings back, and I want to talk about some dates of Juneteenth. This is an educational piece that I want to share with our listeners just for a second. I support celebrating the emancipation of Black folks on June the 19th, okay? Now, having said that, let's go back and get it straight what all these dates mean. When General Granger came in and announced that the slaves in Galveston, Texas were free, this was over 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. But let's talk about the Emancipation Proclamation. The Emancipation Proclamation started in 1862. Abraham Lincoln wanted to issue it in July of 62, but Seward and a couple of other his close advisors told him, you ought not do this simply because people are going to look at it as a stretch. They think that you're about to lose the war and you're doing this just because you are in a bad place in history. So we ought to wait until we have a big victory and then you issue the Emancipation Proclamation. So along comes Sharpsburg, Maryland, or the Battle of Antietam on September the 17th. In which during that battle, it was the most deadliest battle that was ever in the Civil War. There was a life lost every 2 seconds for 11 hours. For 11 hours, every 2 seconds, there was a life lost. There were 23,000 people. That was one heck of a battle. So after that battle was over, Abraham Lincoln wrote up and signed the Emancipation Proclamation. And basically what it said was that as of January the 1st of 1863, all slaves in states that are in rebellion against the United States of America will be free. Now, there was an exception to this because you had states like Maryland, Kentucky, who were not in rebellion against the United States. There were tons of slaves on the Maryland Eastern Shore. This Emancipation Proclamation didn't apply to those 2 states because they were not in rebellion. And then you had a state right next door to Texas, Louisiana, had tons of slaves, but they were no longer in rebellion because they had given up that part of it and the Union had gone in and taken over. So it only applied to states that were still in rebellion as of January the 1st, 1863. And let's put a pin in that, okay? Now, the war ended on April the 9th of 1865. Now, before that, in March of 1864, the Senate approved the 13th Amendment. The House took it up the following January of 1865. And on the 31st of January, they approved the 13th Amendment. But people who understand the Constitution know that it's still not law yet. still not a part of the Constitution until 3/4 of the states ratify it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was done on December the 6th of 1865. And as my good friend, appellate court judge, federal appellate court judge Jim Wynn of the Fourth Circuit says all the time that we should be celebrating December the 6th as our day of liberation.
And I've heard him say that. Yes.
That's when the 13th Amendment became law in the United States of America. Now, having said all of that, I said that because I want people to understand the truth and the facts of the matter so you can defend it and talk about it when you're approached about this by others. Having said that, there is a figure in Scripture. I believe his name was Jesus Christ. And they celebrate his birthday on December the 25th, but there's tons of evidence that that ain't the day he was born on. But yet and still we accept that. Said that to say this, I will accept celebrating June the 19th as the day of emancipation and liberation for African Americans. It's no problem with me. Although I agree with Judge Wynn that the real day of liberation was December the 6th of 1865. So I say all of that so that listeners and people, especially African Americans, when you are queried about this and talk to about this, you have the right facts. You can talk to them boldly and say, this is what I know about Juneteenth. This is why it is what it is, and this is why I celebrate.
Wow, that's a mouthful, Val, and that's a lot of history. Can you stay for a few more minutes? I want to take a break, and when we come back,
absolutely,
I want to talk a little bit more about the monuments. And then I just want to catch us up on the news too, because there's some dude named Donald Trump who's in Tulsa, Oklahoma in the next few hours, who's having a rally. And I want to talk to you about why he's having this rally in Tulsa and what that's all about. So everybody stick around. We're going to be right back after these messages. And welcome back to our second segment of the deal. I'm your host, Ed Clark, and I'm joined again with Val Atkinson, who's our resident know-it-all about everything. And we've been talking about a ton of different stuff. We've been talking about George Floyd. We've been talking about the police officers in Atlanta that have been prosecuted, or at least there's been charges filed. Georgia has some funny laws about what an indictment is and whether or not these will actually go to court for shooting an unarmed black man who was running away in the back. And we've talked about Chris Finley, who's down in Arlington, Texas, where the police entered his house without a warrant. We've talked about the monuments coming down in Raleigh. And I do want to finish up on that, Val. We talked about Juneteenth, and you gave a really good explanation. And I think a lot of people, even African Americans, don't fully understand Juneteenth. But the reason for that is because history is kind of murky in America, right? We don't actually tell history. And one of the lies that they tell in history is that Confederate flag, the stars and bars, and these Confederate monuments somehow are a representation of trying to preserve some heritage. Let's finish up on that topic. Tell me why that monument, or those monuments that came down in Raleigh and in New Orleans and in Richmond and all those other places where they're coming down now, why they don't represent history, really represent American history.
Well, normally after a war, the winning side writes the history of the war. This was an exception. The Daughters of the Confederacy, the Confederate retired Confederate Soldiers of America, several organizations got with writers and publishers, and they began to write the history of the Civil War from a Confederate perspective. And Hollywood played its role in there too. You can go back and look at stories. You don't have to talk about Birth of a Nation. You can look at Gone with the Wind. You can look at all of the stories about the Civil War, Jesse James, Ride in the Hood, as they call it. There are several very good Western movies out there, and if their time frame is anywhere near the Civil War, you'll find that they side or slant toward the Confederate side of things.
So Val, what you're saying then is that the South, in losing the war, somehow, even through film and literature and everything else, it would appear that they won, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It appears that they won. So in order to pad this appearance, what they went around the country doing was constructing monuments to people, to the heroes, so to speak, Robert E. Lee,
Stonewall Jackson,
people like that. If you notice, there are not a lot of statues or streets or parks named after Longstreet, James Longstreet, because James Longstreet said it was Robert E. Lee's fault that they lost the Battle of Gettysburg, which really turned the war. They were winning the Civil War until the Battle of Gettysburg. And Longstreet was the second in command to Lee at Gettysburg, and he told him time and time again, this is a bad strategy you have here. We need to flank. They go around the left flank of the Union forces and attack them from the rear. This echelon type attack that you have with Pickett's charge is not going to work. They lost tons of people. They lost a third of their army. And people blame Longstreet after the war was over for not supporting Lee and for claiming that Lee was the problem here. So you don't see a lot of, but you see statues of a lot of other people, Hood, Ewell, Jackson, Lee, and people who really don't deserve anything, like Braxton Bragg, Benny, Oak. You go out throughout the South and name all of these forts that are named after these Confederate generals, which were not very good generals. They were on the losing side and they were traitors. And as a retired military man myself, I can't wait for the day that we rename all of these military installations that are named after traitors that kill all these American soldiers.
Yeah. Yeah, Val, and that was a hot argument a lot in the last couple of weeks too, whether or not to rename some of these military installations. I want to remind the folks you're watching The Deal with Ed Clark. Val Atkinson is in. We're trying to make sense of what's happened over the last 2-3 months here with George Floyd and a plethora of other things, and it's culminating in yesterday was Juneteenth. The monuments in downtown Raleigh, of all places, come down, the Confederate monuments, and we're talking about that history of the Confederacy, the losers who actually kind of took advantage and were able to try to change this thing around and make it look like they were the victors. But now I think people are starting to understand that the history is not exactly what we've been told. With Val, in the time we got left here, one of the things that I've seen in this particular movement, because over the last couple of days, I've been going back and watching some old clips from the 60s of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and the march in Selma and the march in Memphis and how Malcolm gradually, modified his position, those kind of things. And the arguments they were making were a lot similar. They were talking about the economy. They were talking about bad wars that we shouldn't be in and things like that. The difference is that leaders were being assassinated. And I know a lot of the younger folks who are out there marching, which I do encourage them to do or whatever. I don't think they have a good sense of the history of the actual danger that people were in, that if you said something, you could end up dead. Talk to me a little bit about how 1968, 69, 70 compares to this time. Because the other thing that I noticed in a lot of the film footage, there aren't very many white folks out there. There's some, but not like now. And even last night when the statue came down in Raleigh, a lot of the kids who were on that statue pulling down the Confederate soldier, and you can see them in the background cheering when it comes down, a lot of them were white. Can you explain why now the movement has so many white folks involved in it?
Well, let's go back and talk in the 60s. You mentioned Martin and Malcolm and some of the other people. These were some times that we were just coming out from the throes of Jim Crow, the black codes. Those are the things that followed Reconstruction. Jim Crow, black codes, sharecropping and all of that. And it was commonplace to find a relative or friend or neighbor pull from one of these rivers down south. You know, the Red River, the Mississippi, the Missouri River, whatever, not to mention some of the creeks and ponds and those kinds of things. So people had to be careful. Emmett Till sent the first message when his small 14-year-old body was pulled from the river and it was hard for anybody to identify him. His mom wanted the casket open so that everybody could see what they had done to them. That was tantamount to what happened in World War II when the people took over, the Allies took over cities like Auschwitz and places like that. They made the townspeople come and look at all of the corpses of the bodies that had been gassed and burned, the Jews that had been gassed and burned in their name. And some of them couldn't believe it was going on. That's why Mrs. Till wanted people to see what these people had done to her son Emmett, and they couldn't believe it. But it still continued because this is before we're talking the 64 Civil Rights Act and the 65 Voting Rights Act. So there's a lot of work still to be done. So these white people that we're talking about now, they came out, but they were in much smaller numbers. We talk about Schwerner, Goodman, and Cheney. Cheney was black, of course, he was from Mississippi, but Schwerner and Goodman, they were not from Mississippi. They ended up getting killed along with Cheney because they were down trying to register people to vote. And the people in Mississippi had no compunction about just shooting somebody in the back of the head and throwing them in the river or burning them or whatever. And that's what happened. So what Martin Luther King's main strategy was during that time is get people like Judge Police Chief Clark and other people like that, Sheriff Clark, to commit violence against peaceful protesters, have the CBS and NBC News pick it up, show it up north. We get a lot of support. People come down south, riding freedom buses, doing those kind of things. And in the meantime, guys like Reverend Lane, guys like Miss Louisa, they get killed. Viola Louisa, they get killed. And now that news spreads back up north. That if you go down south and you help these people protest to get their rights, you could end up dead and that sort of thing. And that's when people like Lyndon Johnson got involved. And he says, we got to stop this. He signed the 64 Civil Rights Act, the 65 Voting Rights Act. And it begins to cascade down that politicians became involved. The more politicians became involved, the more average white people thought that it was safe, that I'm not going to allow you to do these horrible things in my name. You may be a racist, but I'm not. And so they started moving away from that. And you can go all the way through the late 60s, 70s, 80s. It gets to a point that more and more whites are about to do that. More whites are now living in neighborhoods that are integrated, more so than it used to be back in the 50s and the 40s, where it was total segregation everywhere. So now they're going to integrated schools. And people are beginning to see that these people are human just like I am. And maybe I will participate in this riot. And then comes the age of television and radio and internet and social media and that kind of thing. And a lot of young whites have as their heroes rap artists, athletes, educators, all different kind of people who happen to be black. So now it's much easier when they see somebody like LeBron James, when they see people like Jay-Z and Beyonce and other people, when they see them taking a position and talking about Black Lives Matter, it's easier for them to take that same position and participate. And that's why we have the untold, unseen, unheard of support of our Caucasian brothers and sisters coming out to support this. And that's what's making the difference now than what it was back in the 60s, Ed, when I walked in a Woolworth type of demonstration back in the very early 60s, 1960 to be exact, 1959 and 1960. When I walked in that myself, you couldn't even have imagined that a white person would be walking with you in that particular time.
Exactly. So Val, look, we could talk for 3 or 4 hours on this. I do want to remind the folks that stay with us when we come back from the next break. Christopher Finley is going to be with us, and the importance of this case, because I think it's going to mean something nationally. The video has been viewed 4 million times on one website. On Christopher's own Facebook page has been viewed at least 800,000 times. So I imagine probably more 4 or 5 million people have seen it by now, where you see the police entering his home without a warrant. It's very disturbing. You're going to see a clip of it when we come back from the break. We'll talk to Christopher. We're going to get him on the phone. And he's going to spend, he's got 10 or 15 minutes he can spend with us to tell the real story, because like I said, he's not been interviewed by anybody else, Val, which is unbelievable. What the video's been seen 5 million times, he's going to be the first time on the deal. It's going to be where anybody interviews him at length about it. And then from there, we're going to show the whole video, which is 16 minutes at the end of the interview. And that'll wrap up the episode for today. But in the meantime, Val, thanks again for coming in with us. It's a monumental day, not a pun. It's a monumental day here in Raleigh. You can tell by my expression that I am happy that the monuments are gone. There's already been some people who've sent us messages, Val, while we've been recording this, saying that they don't agree because I did a promo saying that we were going to be talking about that. They don't agree with the monuments coming down. We'll hear from them. And like I said, we're open. We want to hear their argument, but I think we have a better argument. So in the meantime, we're going to take a break. When we come back, you'll see some clips from the video with Christopher Finley and the Arlington, Texas police. Then you'll hear from Christopher Finley, and then we'll wrap up with the entire incident in Arlington, Texas. We'll be right back. You're watching The Deal.
Happy birthday to you.
I've never done this before.
Happy birthday to you.
We're here for Precious.
Happy birthday, dear Precious.
Take 4.
You may not understand.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, this is chapter 32.
It's me and my son, and I'm asking you, please remove it. Please, sir. I don't want to talk anymore, sir. I'm asking you again to please remove. I'm an unarmed citizen in my. Sir, at this time, you are a public servant. I do not have to speak to you. If you would like to enter my residence, please come back with a warrant. Are you okay, son? Are you harmed, son? Are you harmed?
Sir, what's your name?
Are you harmed, son? You're fine? Okay, don't be scared, son. Okay? So go back in the room and close the door, okay, baby? I love you. It's okay. Again, sir, that's as far as it's going to go. You're not entering my residence, sir.
I don't care what
without a warrant.
I just got to make sure.
It's not about what you find, sir. I'm a legal citizen. There's nothing illegal in my home.
We don't need a warrant.
No, sir. Yes, you do, sir. Yes, you do, sir. You do need a warrant, sir.
Okay.
You do need a warrant, sir.
Okay. We have exigency circumstances to welcome.
There is no.
Sure, everybody okay?
You looked at the two. You looked at the 2 accompanied residents in this home. There's no one else in this home. Come here, son. Come here, son. Come here, son. Okay. Look, this is CJ. Please step back.
Good, CJ.
Son,
Sorry,
is there,
gentlemen.
so, sir, you don't have permission to speak to my son. So, CJ,
I'm giving you
y'all
a
gonna do
chance.
this in front of my child? Y'all gonna do this in front of my child? CJ, y'all gonna do this in front of my child? Y'all are gonna do this in front of my child, bro?
Stop hurting your child.
CJ,
Stop hurting your child.
y'all gonna do this in front of my child, bro? Go in the room. CJ, go in the room. Y'all really gonna do this in front of my child, bro? Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of y'all. Wow, I'm finna sue the shit out of all you bitches. Say, don't touch my son. Say, move away from my child, son. Move away from my son. Move away from my son. Not a dog, dummy. That's no blood.
And there's blood.
That's a snack bowl. You see the snacks, dumbass? That's a snack bowl. I have a dog, dumb. Say, all y'all motherfuckers are fuck. You just violated my rights. Get the fuck out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house.
And welcome back to The Deal. I'm your host, Ed Clark, and I want to thank Val Atkinson, who was in our first segment, our resident political science professor. Obviously, there's so much things going on in the world right here in Raleigh, North Carolina today. They're taking down a Confederate monument, which I did not believe was ever going to happen, but it's going on. So we'll post pictures of that on the website and all that, and you can get with us. But I promised you that I was going to have you talk to a brother named Christopher Finley. Christopher is down in Arlington, Texas, down in the Dallas area. And when we were coming back from the break, you've probably seen some of the video of the police trying to enter his home. And I got a copy of the video from at least 100 people sent me a copy. There's almost 4 million people who've seen this video. I thought it would be better for me just to talk to Christopher Finley. So right now, let's welcome Chris to The Deal. Chris, welcome to The Deal.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Well, look, what moved me so much, Chris, was the fact that you were there with your young son in the house, and the police showed complete disregard for what I believe was your Fourth Amendment rights of not being illegally searched or have your property entered. People saw some of the video when we were coming back from the break, but tell me about what happened that night and how did it end that night?
Okay, so earlier in the day, me, my fiance, and my niece and son, we had got off the road. I'm a truck driver, so we had just got back home. Maybe 30 minutes after we got home, my fiance and her niece went to her aunt's house, and it was just me and my son. Now, me and my son were going back on the road, so we're packing and, getting ready, getting a snack, and he says, Daddy, somebody's at the door. So I go open the door, and a lot of people ask, well, why did you open the door? I don't live a life where
you're afraid, right? Yeah.
Where I have to be concerned about opening my front door.
Right.
I'm a totally legal citizen. I don't have any warrants. I don't have beef or you know what I mean. So, so I opened the door and was met by 2 Arlington police officers and a foot in my home.
Yeah, and from that point, and like I said, we're gonna link a copy of the video, and we showed a clip coming in. They didn't seem to want to hear anything you had to say about your rights. How long did the whole incident last? And then, as it was going on, did you ever once fear that maybe your life may be in jeopardy?
No, from the go, actually. So that it was about 2 to 3 minutes before of interaction before I actually went live.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't, and understandably, if you don't see it, you can't take that into account. But from the beginning of the interaction, I let them know that, hey, there was no disturbance here. It's me and my son, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that should have been the end of the conversation. But they immediately went to, oh, well, we need to come inside. And that's when my phone wasn't even on me at the time. I had to tell my son to go in the room and get it.
Right.
And that's where the live picks up at.
Okay. I want to remind the listeners and viewers that you're watching The Deal. I have the pleasure of having Christopher Finley. He's a resident of Arlington, Texas, on with us today. Cool dude. I don't know you from Adam, but when I called you, I felt like, you the kind of guy that I know, right? You're just a regular guy just trying to make it with your family, with your kids. And the Arlington Police Department seems to have a problem with following, Fourth Amendment right procedures and not entering people's house. And in the video clip that we showed earlier, they are seen coming into your house. Now, eventually, not only did they stick their foot in the door, they came into your apartment, didn't they?
Yeah, so again, man, like my mother raised me, man, to like I'm very educated in my rights. Um, so there was a few things that did not sit well with me with this whole interaction, which is why I did not entry. Um, what people also don't realize, and you can see from the videos, no officer ever asked for identification from me.
Right. Yeah.
Not even after they made the forceful entry did they ask, okay, can we see your ID?
Yeah. Who are you? Right.
Who are you?
Right. Yeah.
You know, so I'm really waiting on to see what this police report has, because, you know, we're praying that you guys falsify the police report and say we encountered, because you guys came in and left not knowing who I was.
Right, right. That is the one other odd thing that I thought about, is that as they're leaving your apartment, they still have not identified who you are, or whether or not they're even in a right place. And I'm not even going to say the right place, because I'm still not sure there was a call that was ever made that, that there was a problem like they claimed that was made.
Well, let me. We're gonna get to that because this whole situation shows how screwed up the police and justice system is. There was a call.
Okay.
Who the call was from is what's going to blow all of this away.
Okay.
So, I stayed 5 minutes from Cowboy Stadium. It's a pretty good area.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. Yeah.
Officer. We have a courtesy officer here. So of course, my property manager came by the next business day, and we got a report of some domestic. I just want to come in and make sure everything is okay. Okay, cool. That's fine. So she does a full sweep of the house, making sure there's no holes in the walls, and the way they acted, you would have thought this would have been torn down.
Right.
Making sure the blinds were still intact, making sure there was nothing broken in the home and everything. She's like, well, I just don't understand why he made that report. Now, up until this point, I didn't know who she was speaking of.
Okay.
Now, here's where the part gets crazy. So he's a courtesy officer, but he's also an Arlington police officer. This man spoke to my fiance literally when she was leaving for the day.
Wow.
They made face-to-face contact. She said he asked him, hey, you gay? How's your day going?
So now the plot thickens. Okay.
Now the plot thickens.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. So I am very curious, like you said, what the police report's going to say about who made the call and why.
And I respect her so much for even taking that stand on social media and putting that nothing happened.
Right.
So the call, for one, was a complete lie.
Yeah.
Like I said, my son is here for the summer. Her niece is here. We don't argue in front of our kids.
Right.
We don't, that's one thing we don't do.
Mm-hmm.
We'll sit and mug each other crazy until we can get to where it's just me and her. You know what I'm saying? But we don't expose our kids to that.
Right.
So that was a complete and bold-faced lie. But then the fact that you, as an Arlington police officer, made this contact with her, so you knew there was no one else in my home.
Sure. Yeah.
And then what I was telling a friend of mine is, as a police officer, it is your duty, even if you are not in uniform, to protect and serve still. So if you truly, whatever happened in your mind, felt that there was something going on, why didn't you intercept?
Right, at that moment, yeah.
And you weren't even on the scene when the police were here.
Right.
And you failed to report that you saw my fiance leave off of your bogus call.
Wow. See, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because, like I said, if you see the video, it's left up in the air. And then I started seeing comments online where people say, oh, he should have just cooperated. You know those people.
Right.
And that kind of thing. And then I'm like, well, something's missing from the story that we need to find out. And the best way to find out is to talk to the person. And again, for those who are listening or viewing this online, this is Christopher Finley. He's the man in the video. This is the person who the Arlington police went into his home without a warrant. And this is the next part of it for me. Have they said anything to you at all? Have you gotten an apology or any kind of follow-up at all?
they have made no contact with me.
Wow. None.
They have made no contact, said anything, reached out to find out, my side, nothing, absolutely nothing.
So Christopher, what do you want to happen from here? Do you have a lawyer? And
Um,
and if you don't have a lawyer, what would you want to see happen?
okay, so the first thing is, this isn't a money thing for me, and I think that's what a lot of people think.
Sure.
No, I am not rich, but God has blessed me and put me in a position to where I can take care of my family, over and abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We don't
Yeah.
struggle. My fiance is in corporate America, very nice salary. I'm a truck driver, very nice salary. This is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is wrong. And I feel like at this point, especially how big as it's become, the world needs to know that this is wrong.
Sure.
And you can't do people like this. And I'm all about Black Lives Matter, but it's more so about the police need to stop the shit.
Right.
Whether you're white, black, Mexican, Asian, you have rights. Now, unfortunately, us as blacks, we don't receive that same privilege
Right.
of being able to exercise our rights. But, I want this to be put out there, and at the end result, the world knows that, oh, y'all cannot do that to us. Y'all can't do us like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand is, it really is a genuine fear, man. Like, I'm 6 foot 320. I have tattoos. I have goals in my mouth. Like, I know what a police officer thinks when he sees me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You don't see that I'm a father. You don't see that I'm a son, that I'm a grandson to a pastor. You know what I'm saying? That I was raised in the church. I'm a musician. All you see is, oh, wait, he's got goals on. He has goals in his mouth. He has tattoos on his arms. He's a big black guy.
Right.
I know that's what you see. As soon as you make contact with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, you know what? I've been on the radio here in North Carolina for 25 years on TV and on the radio. I've been talking about that same subject. I mean, I was an athlete in college. A lot of my boys were athletes in college. We've all been stopped. I think it always comes down to they're looking at your physical appearance. That
Absolutely.
we're big guys. We lift weights. We whatever, and or just athletic looking, and they're in fear. I know this is a little bit beyond what we've been talking about, but just your personal feeling. Um, are we moving towards anything concrete though to solve this problem? George Floyd hadn't been dead 2 weeks, and they still bust into your house. So
Right.
so how does that make you feel? That it makes it seem like there's nothing really happening.
Even above just my situation, you guys just shot a man in the back in Atlanta.
Right.
And like, when you're a kid, when you know the teacher's looking at you, or your parents are watching you, you usually chill out. But the police know they are under a microscope, and it's still happening. That's the scary part about America, is that even in all of this heat,
Mm-hmm.
you'll still kill somebody.
It still goes on.
You'll still kill a black man. You'll still illegally enter a black man's residence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, I have a son. He's in the living room now. Like, that is scary for me, for him, because I'm not going to teach my son fear.
Right.
But then you're not teaching your police department not to kill him.
Yeah, that's the
You're not
bottom
teaching
line.
the police department not to violate his rights.
Right. Yeah. Hey, man.
It's a very messed up place to be here in America, man.
It certainly is, and Christopher, like I said, it really moved me. I mean, you see all these videos all the time, and what really struck me was your son was there in the background. I couldn't imagine how you were feeling. I was worried about your personal safety and your son's safety, because of course, like I said, I didn't know what had happened in the end. I don't think this is over either. Now that the Arlington Police Department seems to not want to communicate with you, but there.
And then just last night,
Yeah.
I had a squad car sitting in front of my home.
Yeah, and I happen to see that video too, and we'll post links to that too as well, so people can see what's going on in your life. But that's happening all around America for black folks, and we've been saying it and we've been saying it. Now we even got video, and I'm just wondering what else it's going to take. But you know, it's the Father's Day weekend, so I want to wish you a happy Father's Day.
I appreciate it. And I turn 30 tomorrow.
Party. And well, man, I wish you only the best. Can I follow up with you and see what's going on?
So I will be submitting my official complaint this week.
Okay.
And I will make sure I send you a copy of it.
All right.
It's going to be very long and extensive because we've sat and dissected the video, the interaction. We've quoted every law that was broken, every right that was broken. So, but I definitely want you, I'll definitely make sure I send that to them. Yeah, man, you got my personal number.
Yeah.
Whenever, man, hit me up. And I appreciate your support, man. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Look, man, no problem. Like I said, there's people in North Carolina, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, California who know about you now, who know about what happened to you. We're going to continue to talk about it. Yeah, hold on there for me for just a second. I want to remind the folks we'll be back next Sunday on Connections on WFXC and WFXK FM at 8 a.m. with me and Val Atkinson on Connections. And then Sunday afternoon, we'll be back with The Deal with Ed Clark with me at 1 o'clock online. And then, of course, you can catch me all during the week at The Deal with EdClark.com. And Christopher Finley from Arlington, Texas, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem, man. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back to our final segment of The Deal. I'm your host, Ed Clark. We just had the opportunity to talk to Christopher Finley from Arlington, Texas. And I think it's important that you see the video in its entirety. You saw some clips as we were coming back in from the last segment and right before we talked to Christopher. But I think it's important that you actually see the video. So we're going to play the video in its entirety to end out the program today. Please watch the whole thing. One of the things that that you'll see is that Christopher was articulate. He spoke about his Fourth Amendment rights. You see the officers push their way into the house, and then they actually at one point put their hands on his son, and then they leave. They never identify, who's in the apartment or anything. So there's a lot of things I think are wrong with this. I'm not a lawyer. I don't play one on TV, but if you just watch this, there's so much wrong with what happened here. So we're going to play the video in its entirety. Please be reminded that this has some strong language in it. So if you're offended by some of the language, know in advance that this video is not for children. There's some very strong language, especially towards the end. Again, I want to thank Christopher Finley for being on The Deal with us. Again, come back next weekend. We'll be back on during the week. Look for our blog post. And again, we're going to end up the show today. This is the video of Christopher Finley in his encounter with the Arlington, Texas Police Department. And you make the judgment. I think by the time you watch the whole entire tape and see the end of it, you'll have the same opinion that me and Christopher had, is that the police had no business coming in his house. And let's watch the tape.
Please remove it. Please, sir. I don't want to talk anymore, sir. I'm asking you again to please remove. I'm an unarmed citizen in my home. In my home. I'm asking you, sir, to please remove your foot, because to me that's threatening, sir. So again, sir, I'm asking you, please. This is you're now in my home. You are a public servant, sir. I understand this. It is me and my son, and I'm asking you to please remove your foot. You are not coming in my home. Okay, just listen, sir. There's nothing else to listen to. You're not coming in my home. Sir. I'm asking you to please leave. I'm not going to close my door and continue with my day. You guys have a good day, officer. Have a good, sir. Do not, sir. Sir, this is my home. Sir, this is my home. Do not touch my door. Have a good day, officer. I'm no longer speaking with you. I am no longer speaking with you. You are not needed in this home. Was there a disturbance? I am no longer speaking with you. You are not welcome in my home. Y'all have a good day, officer.
We're not asking you. We're not.
Have a good say, sir. Again, officer, again. Please remove your foot out of my home.
Okay, was there a disturbance here?
I am no longer communicating with you, sir.
We're just trying to make sure.
I'm telling you that I do not need you guys.
We're not saying
it is me and my son, and I'm telling you, I'm not in trouble. But I'm telling you that it is me and my son, and I would like for you to remove your foot.
Where's your
I don't have to answer any questions to you, sir. So now I'm asking you again, sir, to remove your foot. Remove your foot out of my home. I don't want to speak anymore, sir. Have a good day. I don't need you. I'm not asking you. I am in my home.
I'm not asking you.
My son is fine. I am fine. We are the only people that occupy this residence. Okay, again, sir. I'm asking you again to remove your foot out of my home. I don't want to communicate with you anymore. I do not want to communicate with you anymore. This is my residence. You are trespassing as of right now because I have asked you several times to remove your foot out of my home. So at this time, public servant, you are trespassing. So one more time, sir, I'm going to ask you to remove your foot out of my home and have a good day, officer. Thank you. Goodbye, sir. Sir, get away from my door. Sir, get away from my door.
We gotta make sure everything's okay.
Sir, I'm feeling attacked at this moment. I'm asking you, you're my resident. You're trespassing. You're trespassing because I told you that I don't need you. I told you that I don't need you. You're a public servant. You're a public servant. And I'm not giving you permission. I am not giving you permission to enter my residence. So if you want to enter my residence, go back to your station, speak to your captain and judge. Say, sir, this is on loud. Sir, get out. No, don't touch my phone. TJ, close that door, son. I'm telling you not to enter my residence without a warrant, sir. Without a warrant, do not enter my residence. Without a warrant, do not enter my residence. Without a warrant, sir, you're not entering my residence. This is my home. Without a warrant, do not enter my residence. Say, y'all see this shit. I'm telling you, this is Arlington BDE, J. Cole, and E. Dickinson. I am unarmed, I am peaceful, and in my residence. I'm asking this man to remove his foot from my home. Sir, at this time, you are a public servant. I do not have to speak to you. If you would like to enter my residence, please come back with a warrant. That's it. That's it. If you would like to say, if any of y'all know my mama, bro, tag her, bro. Or Kiko, call my mama. Kiko, call my mama. Again, you're a public servant. And no, sir, I'm not. Because you are a public servant and you don't have a warrant. No, sir. No, sir, you do not have a warrant. You do not have a warrant. This is my domicile. I have the right to refuse. That's it. Sir, again. And I'm telling you that everyone in here is fine. CJ, are you okay? Okay, from the door. This is my 6-year-old son. CJ, you okay, baby boy? Okay, go back in the room and close the door. Again, sir.
You're being irrational right now.
No, I'm not, sir. This is my home. You are trying to invade my home.
We have to do it well.
You're trying to invade my home. You're looking at the residence. I'm well. You're looking at the residence. I'm well.
We got a call.
Sir, you're not going to enter my home. You do not have permission to enter my home, sir. So again, I'm asking you to remove your foot out of my residence. This is my residence. Again, I am asking you to remove your foot. You do not have a warrant. You will not enter my home. Period. So again, sir, because I'm feeling very threatened at this moment, you do not have a warrant to be on my property. Please remove your foot from my door so that I can go back and chill with my son. Please remove your foot, sir. Sir, again, you are a public servant and I do not have to communicate with you. So at this time, I am in the communication. So again, I'm asking you, sir, to please remove your foot. Please remove your foot. Please remove your foot from my home, sir. Please remove your foot from my home, sir. Sir, please remove your foot from my home.
We just have to do it well.
Sir, you will not enter my residence, sir.
We just have to do it well.
You will not enter my residence, sir. You will not enter my residence. Again, sir, I'm asking you as a public servant to please remove your foot from my home. Please remove your foot out of my property, sir. Sir,
we just gotta make sure your wife is okay.
Sir,
okay?
there's no one in this home. Sir, there is no one in this home besides me and my child. Point blank, period. Okay. If you want to come in my home, then with all rights, once you come back with a signed warrant from a Tarrant County judge, you will be more than welcome. But until you have a signed warrant from a Tarrant County judge, you will not enter my residence, sir. That is my right. That's my right. So again, sir, I'm gonna ask you, sir, please.
Like I
Please,
said, we're not
sir.
gonna do a search or anything.
Sir,
We gotta do.
Sir, let me tell you something. I am a very legal citizen. I'm not worried about any of that. But again, you don't have permission to enter my home.
I understand that, but
You don't have permission to enter my home. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. What code? What's the code? What's the code for? What code?
We gotta call.
No, 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 no. No, you are a public servant. Y'all go through a 21-week training. So in that training, they should be able to tell you the penal codes that give you the right to enter a residence. If you cannot tell me that, or you do not have a signed warrant, you will not enter my home.
Like I said,
You will not enter my home. You are looking at the resident of this home. I'm looking you in your eye and telling you I'm well. This is where this ends, sir. You're not entering my home. And again, at this point, you're really violating my rights with your foot in my property. I don't have to. You are a public servant. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to listen to you. I don't, sir. You knocked on my door. I'm not asking you for. I didn't call y'all to tell me to come give y'all. I didn't tell y'all to come give me an explanation. Y'all knocked on my door.
Sir, we got a call to this location.
Sir, you didn't get a call to this location. You did not get a call to this location. Sir, okay, look, I'm not going to do this with you. Again, I'm asking you to remove your foot off of my property now. So you're going to continue to violate my rights, officer?
Sir, I'm not violating
you. You are. This is my property. This is my property. You are a public servant. You don't have a signed warrant. You do not have a signed warrant, and your foot is in my property. So again, sir, I'm asking you to remove your foot out of my property.
Are you going to listen?
No, sir, I am not going to listen. I told you what it is at this point. You guys are public servants. You're at the wrong door. You will not be coming into my home. Period. That's what it stops. If you want to enter my home, then please go back to your station, get with your captain, and get with a Tarrant County judge, and come back nicely with a signed warrant. Otherwise, this is over, sir.
No, sir.
This is over. It's over. You're not. No, you don't have to come in my home. This is my home. This is my. Are you familiar with the Constitution? Are you familiar with the Constitution? Are you familiar with the Constitution? Sir, I'm being very rational. Honestly, I think I'm being over rational with two. Really, because you guys are strangers to me, because I don't identify with your badge. So really, there's two strangers at my doorstep right now. So I'm being very rational. But again, this is where my rationality ends. I'm asking you to step away from my door.
I'm trying to explain.
Sir, there's nothing else to explain. There's nothing else to explain. There's nothing else to explain. I'm telling you that there's only me and my child here. So that I'm telling you now, again,
People fighting in here.
sir,
We have to come in and make sure
I'm 30 years old and my son is 6 years old. That's it. There's no fighting between me and my child. So again, I'm asking you. You just saw my son and you saw me. That's the only people in this residence. If you want to come to my home, feel free to come back with a signed warrant from the Tarrant County judge. I'm being very rational. I'm being very rational. I'm being very rational. I'm being very rational.
So we're telling him we need to do a welfare check and make sure his wife's okay. Okay, we got call for.
There's no wife in this home.
We have to make sure.
Sir, I said, no, sir. I said with a signed warrant, you will be able to enter my home. There's me and my child in this. There's only me and my child in this home. There's only me and my child in this home. I'm saying, no, sir. Listen to me, sir.
No, listen.
Sir, no, sir. Because you are okay. Well, tell your deputy. First of all, tell your deputy to remove his. So you're gonna continue to trespass on my property.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so you're saying you're gonna continue to trespass on my property?
Okay.
CJ, come to the door again, baby boy. This is as far as you're gonna come in my home. CJ, is there anybody in there? Is there anybody in there, son? Are you okay, son? Are you harmed, son? Are you harmed?
Sir, what's your name?
Are you harmed, son? You're fine? Okay, don't be scared, son. Okay? So go back in the room and close the door, okay, baby? I love you. It's okay. Again, sir, that's as far as it's gonna go. You're not entering my residence, sir.
I don't care
without a warrant.
I just gotta make sure.
It's not about what you find, sir. I'm a legal citizen. There's nothing illegal in my home. No, sir. No, let me tell you something, sir. There are four
Yes, sir.
Caucasian officers, and you're not entering my home, sir. No, sir. Without a signed warrant from a Tarrant County judge, I am not permitting you to enter my dwelling.
That's fine. We don't need a warrant.
No, sir. Yes, you do, sir. Yes, you do, sir. You do need a warrant, sir.
Okay.
You do need a warrant, sir.
Okay. With existing circumstances to welcome.
There is no.
Sure everybody okay.
You looked at the two. You looked at the two accompanying residents in this home. There's no one else in this home. There has been no one else in this home. So again, sir, this is making me feel very threatened because you are trespassing.
We're not trespassing.
You are trespassing, sir.
Okay.
Sir, where this door stops, is my property.
I'm not willing to walk away with that.
Sir,
knowing
I've already, sir.
Okay, okay.
You have now sir.
Listen, with the
Okay,
people
so
we got,
sir.
you gonna let me talk?
No, this is how. No, you can have an officer,
I'm trying to have a
sir.
discussion.
You can have an officer monitor my door and go get a warrant. But without a warrant, sir, you are not entering my residence, sir. And if you enter my residence, I'm going to take that as a threat, sir.
Okay, what is
I'm going to take that as a threat, sir.
Okay, sir, we don't want to take it as a threat.
Okay,
We don't want
I feel very threatened right now.
Why?
Because there are 4 white officers in that time talking about a disturbance. There is no wife in this residence. You've seen the 2 accompanying people in this house.
We don't know this
That's
yet.
sir. I'm telling you that. You see this, sir?
Here,
This
I'll
is
tell you-
my
I'll tell you
apartment,
what, I'll
sir.
tell you what.
No,
How
sir.
about this?
No, sir.
I'm trying
Nobody's
to
entering
work
my
with you.
home, sir.
Okay, I'm giving you one chance,
Sir.
that I can work with you. Or we're
I
just
know
gonna-
my
or We're
rights.
just gonna go in there and
And
look,
if you
okay?
do that, sir, I
Okay.
swear to you, sir, I have 351 people on live who have witnessed that I have not given you permission to enter my home. No, sir. I'm cleaning up my home. I don't trust you, officers. I do not trust you. I do not trust you. I do not trust you. I do not trust you, and I have the right. These are my property. This is my property. I'm not yelling. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not yelling. I'm not yelling. I'm black. This is our. This is. But so you take that as yelling. It's not yelling, sir. I'm speaking. I'm speaking, sir. Because, sir, not until you and your officer stop trespassing on my property. I will hold my door open. I will hold my door
Right
open.
now, you haven't given me an indication
Sir?
that you're gonna hold your door open.
So
and talk to us.
okay, again, I am verbally, again, I am sitting here verbally affirming to you that when you remove your foot off of my property, I will hold my door ajar to speak with you. But until you guys stop trespassing on my property, I will no longer go any
But hold
further.
your door open and you walk out with it.
Sir,
And you can close
no,
your
no, no,
door.
sir, I'm not,
And you can close
sir,
your door.
sir.
And you can close your
Again, I'm giving you verbal confirmation, sir, that if you and your officer stop trespassing on my property, that I will stand here with my door ajar and communicate with you. But until then, sir, I feel very threatened,
giving
and
you
I'm not
one more
willing,
chance to
sir.
Just let me talk for 10
Sir,
seconds.
okay,
One more chance.
sir, that is how we can
Okay.
speak, sir. That is how we can speak. I know my rights.
Okay?
I know my
And
rights.
I know the rights.
I know
that
my
you have,
rights, sir.
okay?
Sir.
And this came out as a possible
Sir.
domestic disturbance.
That domestic is between me and my son. CJ, close the door, baby. It's okay. Please close the door, son. Please close the door. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. Like, this is crazy. My son is crying, bro. You're not coming in my home, man. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. You have a badge on, sir. You have a badge on. You have a badge on. That badge makes y'all the same color, sir. That badge makes y'all the same color, sir.
Can I say something?
That badge makes y'all the same color. Okay, sir. Tell them stop trespassing on my property.
Actually, right now I see broken glass. So that's
Yeah, you see broken glass. My son dropped his snack bowl.
Okay. And we need to make
My
sure-
son dropped his snack bowl.
When we get a call.
Because my son dropped his snack bowl, that, oh, wow.
Buddy,
Sir,
listen.
sir.
We get a call for domestic disturbance.
Sir.
We have to check. So that's what we're doing.
Sir, let me tell you,
And
I have
just
a, it's
wanna make-
me.
Can we see your son?
and my-
See his face. Make sure.
He just did. He just did. He just
We wanna
did.
make sure there's nobody else in the apartment. Okay.
Oh my God, y'all! This is what y'all want to expose my son to. CJ, no sir, because I'm gonna honor his request. Baby boy, no sir, you come here, son. Come here, son. Come here, son. Okay, look, this CJ. Please step back,
CJ.
son. Is there, so, sir? You don't have permission to speak to my son, sir. CJ, y'all gonna do this in front of my child? Y'all gonna do this in front of my child? CJ, y'all gonna do this in front of my child? Y'all are gonna do this in front of my child, bro?
Stop hurting your child.
CJ,
Stop hurting your child.
y'all gonna do this in front of my child, bro? Go in the room. CJ, go in the room. Y'all really gonna do this in front of my child, bro? Y'all doing this in front of my child. Bro, say, let me go. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of my home. Let me go and get out of y'all. Wow, I'm finna sue the shit out of all you bitches. Say, don't touch my son. Say, move away from my child, son. Move away from my son. Move away from my son. CJ, be quiet. Do not say anything, son. Move away from my son. Y'all are some motherfuckers, boy. Y'all some bitch ass niggas. Y'all some bitch ass motherfuckers, boy. Y'all violate my rights. I'm on y'all motherfucking ass. I'm on y'all fucking ass. Sir, get out of my home. You bitch ass niggas, get out of my home. Get out of my home. Get out of my home. Get out of my home, you bitch ass niggas. Get out of my home, you bitch ass niggas. Get out of my home, and I got all you motherfuckers badges. Get out of my home, bitch boy. 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 CJ, go back in the room. Is he cut? Nigga, I'm a good black father, son. I don't put my hands on my son. Is it blood on my son? That ain't fucking blood. I got a dog, dummy. That's no blood.
And there's blood.
That's a snack bowl. You see the snacks, dumbass? That's a snack bowl. I have a dog, dumb. Say, all y'all motherfuckers are fucked. You just violated my rights. Get the fuck out my house. Get the fuck out my house. Bitch ass niggas. Bitch ass niggas. You good, son? You good? Chill out. Just chill out. You want get you I'm gonna get you some juice or something. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Chill out, son. I'm gonna get you some juice, okay? Y'all saw the whole shit? Y'all see that whole shit? Y'all see that whole shit? That's crazy. That's fucking crazy, bro. That's fucking crazy. Bro. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy, boy. Say, wow.